In the quiet town of Millhaven, where the streets were lined with sagging oaks and the air always carried the faint hum of cicadas, the old thrift store on Maple Street was a relic of forgotten things. Tucked between a shuttered bakery and a laundromat that never closed, the store was a maze of dusty trinkets, moth-eaten clothes, and furniture that smelled of mildew. Most folks avoided it, not because of the clutter, but because of the rumors. They said the store's owner, Mr. Gresham, had a knack for finding things that didn't want to be found. Things that carried weight. Curses, some whispered. Among the clutter was an old Zenith television, its wood-paneled frame chipped and its screen curved like a fishbowl. It sat in the corner, half buried under a pile of yellowed magazines, its power cord coiled like a snake. Nobody noticed it much, except for the faint static hum it gave off, even unplugged. The locals called it Gresham's ghost box, half joking, half nervous. They said it flickered on its own sometimes, showing faces in the static, faces that weren't supposed to be there. Lila Harper, a 17-year-old with a penchant for the strange, didn't believe in ghost stories. She'd moved to Millhaven with her mom after a messy divorce, and boredom drove her to explore places others avoided. One rainy October afternoon, she pushed open the thrift store's creaking door, the bell jingling like a warning. Mr. Gresham, a wiry man with eyes like clouded glass, barely looked up from his counter. "Don't touch what you don't understand," he muttered, his voice dry as old paper. Lila wandered the aisles, her sneakers scuffing the warped floorboards, until she spotted the TV. Its screen was dark, but the air around it felt heavy, like a held breath. She brushed the dust off the dials, and the static hum grew louder, prickling her skin. "How much for this?" she called out, half expecting Gresham to laugh her off. She didn't buy his cryptic warning, but she couldn't afford the TV anyway. Still, the idea of it stuck with her, like a song she couldn't unhear. That night, she dreamed of static, a gray, buzzing void that pulsed with whispers. Faces flickered in the noise, their mouths moving, but no sound came out. She woke up sweating, her heart pounding, the hum of the TV still ringing in her ears. The next day, she went back. She didn't know why. Gresham was gone, the store eerily quiet. The TV was still there, its screen now faintly glowing, even though the plug dangled loose. Lila's fingers twitched. She reached out hesitating, then flicked the power switch. The screen erupted in static, loud and sharp like 1,000 bees trapped in a jar. The room dimmed, the air growing thick. In the static, shapes began to form. Blurry at first, then sharper. A hand, pressing against the inside of the screen. A face, distorted, its eyes wide and pleading. Lila stumbled back, her breath catching, but she couldn't look away. The face mouthed something, over and over until she made it out. "Help me." She yanked the plug from the wall, but the TV didn't shut off. The static grew louder, the hum burrowing into her skull. The face in the screen shifted, and now it was her face, her own eyes staring back, wide and terrified. Her reflection, but not. It moved when she didn't, its mouth twisting into a scream she couldn't hear. Lila ran, the bell jangling as she burst out into the rain. She didn't sleep that night. The hum followed her, faint but persistent, like a pulse in the walls of her house. By morning, she was back at the store, driven by a need she couldn't name. The TV was on, though no one was there. The static showed more faces now, dozens flickering in and out, their mouths moving in silent agony. She saw Mr. Gresham among them, his cloudy eyes staring blankly. She tried to smash the TV, grabbing a brass candlestick from a shelf and swinging it hard. The screen cracked, but the static didn't stop. Instead, it grew louder, the hum now a roar. Hands reached out from the broken glass, gray and translucent, clawing at the air. Lila screamed, dropping the candlestick, and ran again. This time, the hum followed her louder, sharper, like it was inside her. Days passed, and Lila stopped leaving her room. The hum was everywhere now, in her head, in her dreams. Her phone flickered with static when she tried to call for help. Her laptop screen buzzed with gray noise. She saw the faces in every reflective surface, her mirror, her window, even the polished handle of her bedroom door. They whispered her name, their voices blending into the static, pulling at her thoughts. One night, desperate, she went back to the store. It was locked, the windows dark, but the TV's glow spilled out onto the street. She broke a window with a brick and climbed inside. The TV was waiting, its screen a swirling storm of static and faces. She saw her mom in there now, her eyes empty. Lila's knees buckled. She didn't know if it was real, but it felt real. She grabbed a chair and smashed the TV again and again until the screen was a shattered mess of glass and wires. The static stopped, but the silence was worse. It pressed against her, heavy and alive. She felt something pull at her, not her body, but something deeper. Her thoughts, her memories, herself. The room spun, and the last thing she saw was her own face in the broken screen, smiling a smile that wasn't hers. The next morning, the thrift store was empty. The TV was gone, the shattered glass swept away like it had never been there. Lila was gone too. The townsfolk whispered about it, but no one looked too closely. Millhaven had a way of swallowing its secrets. Weeks later, a new family moved to town. They wandered into the thrift store, drawn by the cheap prices. In the corner, under a pile of old blankets, was a Zenith TV, its wood frame polished to a shine. The screen was dark, but if you listened closely, you could hear a faint hum, like static waiting to wake.